This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know this that I know. For the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, I know it, I know.
All right, everyone, welcome back. This is the Solve For Why Vlogcast, episode number 11. We finally made it to Berkey's favorite number. Of course, it is myself, Christian Soto, host of the show, my friend, good friend, never a backer, Berkey 11.
Your hand's in my shop, bro.
This is like...
No, your window's here.
Okay, well, I'll start again if you want.
We've been over this. Your window's here.
Listen, my window is wherever I want my window to be. I fly free.
We can't box in your Dominican, you know?
No. Fucking Nick Howard tried to box in my Dominican. He took my flag out. Still waiting on my flag, Nick.
We got range cards.
Range cards. What?
A range card.
Yeah, we color outside the lines. All right, man. We're back. Episode number 11. We're still doing the film. Like in terms of we're not doing it live yet.
Yep.
Because
Andre's a little bitch.
Andre is a little bit afraid of catching corona. I mean, I'm afraid of catching corona too. We went and got corona tested.
Yeah.
I was seeing stars, man, after that thing. Like they put that.
You were crying.
Yeah,
literally.
man. They put. Listen, I literally saw stars. Like I was like, I never seen that. Like I know now when people get knocked out and they're like, "Oh, I see stars." Like I know what they're talking about. I was literally like catching the stars. I was catching the stars. Like, but yeah, we both got tested. It got negative. It was funny. I sent you like our doctor's not really supposed to tell us what the like.
No, it's fine.
Like, but I was. He was like, "Oh, your test is negative." He texted me in the morning. Like,
yeah.
He's like, "Your test is negative." I'm like, "How about Berkey?" Because he's been around me. He's like, "He's negative too. Don't worry."
Yeah, we're good.
I was like, "Berkey breathed on me." he's like, "Nah, you're fine." So that was cool. But then that was good news because I've been playing. I was putting in a lot of hours at Bellagio, and I was like, "Man, like, I don't know, like, we're in a weird space here, right?"
Yeah.
But the Bellagio is actually pretty good. It's one of those. I think the plexiglass is like a pretty safe environment for some reason. Like it's like there's really nothing could
I think it's like a false sense of security. To be honest, like everything I've seen, and you know, granted, I don't know how much we can dig into the data, but if two people are wearing masks, the likelihood of them cross-contaminating one another is like 1%.
Yeah. Plus the plexiglass now is like 0.8.
Sure.
I don't know. It has to count for something. It can't be
I
zero.
mean, maybe. Who knows?
But yeah, it's a pretty. The most thing I'm afraid of at Bellagio is the chips. Because the chips in the cart, so like I usually like use the hand sanitizer a lot. But yeah, I mean, we're still here. No live podcast
Soon.
I'm a little sad about the people. Like, where is Angel for you or whatever?
Angel for you to envy.
Yeah, like we can't talk to him. There's there's no people saying like don't talk about politics.
Streams are dead.
Yeah, streams are dead. Like what's gonna happen? Like I don't know. So let's talk about that. So WSOP has, at least the American side, has come and gone.
Yep.
The streams have now halted. There's people doing content. Like we see a little bit of like Andrew Nemi putting out like, oh, I catched this Mexico bird, and things like that. But generally speaking, the American side is now down, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to see. We're very unlikely to see Negreanu every single day for an hour. We're not going to see you every day. We're not going to see Mike Mattisar every day. And, Poker Guru, these people that were like really pushing the WSOP American side streams. Now what happens? Because like, is this like what happens live when like August, right? Like no one plays poker in August until Florida comes.
Yeah, pretty
much.
much.
The live version.
I think so.
So does it have that same feel where it's just like a down?
I mean, for me, yes. Like I desperately need some time off. I need to pay some more attention to the company and like do some things that don't involve me playing poker 24/7. I think for the content space though, it's a really good time to strike while the iron's hot. Like if there were two of me, I would have the other version streaming every single day still. So, if you want to get your streaming hat on,
It was crazy.
Getting them streets.
I was at Snacks in Bellagio, and like a couple people came in, and they were like, "Chin," and I'm like,
Sup?
"Yes." They're like, "Yo, we like your content, bro." Like, and I'm like, "That's what's up, bro." He's like, "You need to stream." I was like, "Yeah, don't let Berkey hear you."
Yeah, no, you should.
They're like, "We like Berkey."
It's been an unfair workload.
Don't you think you're so good at it?
I don't know or care. I just know I would like to do less of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad it's come to a close, and
Way to sidestep.
nah, it's just a step. So then what happens? Like, okay, you're saying there's a lot of people, like the eyeballs are still there.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Platt's still on every single day, but now it's at like 3 p.m. Pacific because of the weird European times.
Yeah, and effectively, you're saying like people are still there. Like, there's like if someone wants to start a stream, like now's the time. You're saying?
I don't know. So here's what I was talking to Waxman yesterday, and I said if I had to start from scratch with no built-in audience, I would never do it. I would never, ever, ever have the desire to do what I just did for a month for an audience of 1.
Really?
I mean, what's the point? Right? Like, for me personally, it's like, it's been great. It's been a good community building activity. It's been awesome to get positive feedback. It's been fascinating to watch how fast it grew. And, you know, having some deep runs mixed in there, it was nice to see like what the capabilities are once your stream starts to surpass that 6-hour mark.
Yeah.
But, you know, what's the end game if you're just a new streamer starting from scratch?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's one of those things where it's like you kind of, if you need, because I'm looking at it. Okay, Poker Guru jumped on. He built a pretty big audience pretty fast. No one really knew who he was. So there is kind of the availability to build an audience, I guess, if you're.
But he was doing it to set up a coaching site.
Right, of course. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's an end game to it. I guess if you don't have an end game, but you're good at poker, maybe you could still build the site, an audience, and then.
I think we're seeing this with Ginge right now.
Yeah.
I think he's a fascinating individual.
Yeah,
I think what he's done on stream has been pretty impressive, and he's interesting to watch. And I think he's struggling to figure out what his next step is.
Right.
Obviously, the world's kind of his oyster because he's built a fan base. But at the same time, like, if you don't have a good means to an end, there isn't much incentive to constantly give up EV and put on a show.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like people stream for different purposes, right? It's like some people stream because they feel like they want to give something back to the community, where it's like they're always like taking EV, and maybe they want to give something back. Some people have like coaching sites. Some people like have aspirations of being a sponsored pro. Like, there's a bunch of different reasons to stream. If someone wanted to start streaming now, I'm unsure like what the path is. Maybe like become an ACR pro. Like, I'm not sure what
you
is
get,
the
though. You know, like
Yeah.
what's the benefit?
Right,
I'm
right.
sure it's greater than 0, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of man hours to put
But a
in
lot
the
of the
stream.
times, like, the streamers are saying like, well, we stream anyway. Like, I mean, sorry, not we're playing anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe they're giving something up, but they're getting some tournament tickets.
I mean, for me personally, like, the difference between playing on and off stream is rather significant.
what did you think about the run at once model of streaming? Do you remember that?
No.
So they effectively had an offer, like it was called Stream
Oh,
R.
yeah. I thought you meant like for the training site,
No.
for the poker site.
Yeah.
I think it's genius for an upstart company. I think it's fantastic. I don't think much came of it though.
No,
right?
I don't remember like many people signing up, or at least I don't see them.
This is the struggle that a lot of these platforms are running into. You know, I see Globals kind of out in the streets. They are doing some work with Vanessa Cade, and you know, ACR has a handful of I guess sponsored pros that they have streamed for them, and then you scale up and you start the party pokers who have a full stream team. GG, same thing, and then Stars, obviously they have the mecca. They have, you know, probably the 5 best streamers in the game. The difference between Stars and the upstarts, like a Run It Once or Global Poker, is the difference between, you know, MLB and Little League in some regard. The likelihood in the MLB, you're already pulling from the best talent in the world.
Yeah,
And you're putting it on display. That's what Stars is doing.
for sure.
They cultivated the best streamers in the world. They paid them handsomely, and they're putting them on display. They're putting all the churn behind them.
Yeah.
They're marketing them. guys like Lex drawing massive numbers because he's very talented both at streaming and at poker. Same thing with Spraggy. Recently made a deep run in one of the whatever the series running now for Stars is.
It was the Stadium
series, yeah. And I think Tonka also. I'm not positive he's with Stars, but I know that he just won a Stadium series and did it on stream. So like, all this stuff blows up pretty huge. Whenever you start to look at like the run at once model or GG kind of not GG, Global kind of throwing their hat in the ring, trying to just curate talent, right?
Yeah.
Basically saying like, hey, all streamers worldwide, come to our platform, stream some, and we're gonna hand select the best of the bunch. You're literally talking about trying to hand select a little leaguer who you think has the prospects to be a major leaguer.
Yeah.
It's impossible, right?
It's hard. It's very hard. I mean, you can find them, but like it's tough because they have to compete with people that if they are that good, the bigger names won't just scoop them. Right. It's like it's
well, so
tough.
that's the thing, right? So like I think this analogy is really key, and maybe basketball is a better parallel because of AAU and there are fewer people playing and there are also fewer people who make it. So maybe let's roll with the basketball analogy. I'm just more familiar with baseball. But if you look at the difference between AAU and the best D1 college athletes and then the NBA, GG is probably somewhere in the best D1 college athletes, right? They're going out, they're seeking pro sponsorship. Same thing with party poker, right? They're getting people who are established streamers or at least established professionals who potentially have the capabilities of streaming. They're paying them, and they're hoping that it pays off on the back end in that some of them will graduate to be at the level of the NBA, right? Stars just went out and got LeBron. They're the Lakers, right? Stars just said, okay, give me LeBron, give me Dwight Howard, give me the Brow, and let's throw them all in the fucking court, Yeah. And that's really difficult to compete with when you're a small market team, like say
like Oklahoma City,
or Cleveland, right? Whenever they're just saying like, okay, we're gonna try to we're gonna get out there into the community, and we're gonna start going from small town to small town AAU tournaments, and we're gonna start to cultivate 14-year-olds. And then we're going to follow them through their D1 path.
Give them some sneakers.
Yeah, give them some sneakers, a little bit of funding along the way. Just kind of give them the wink and the nod of reminding them that Cleveland's been with you all along so that whenever they finally come out, we could potentially draft them or sign them as a free agent or whatever the case may be. The likelihood that you're even going to find 1 ounce of talent in the AAU pool that is loyal to you throughout to the point where they're on the same level as the LeBron, the Brow, etc. I refuse to call him by name, by the way.
Anthony Davis,
I understand. The likelihood that you are going to both find that person and then cultivate their talent without losing them is nearly impossible. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the dollars, right? And the Lakers will always be there.
That's the thing.
Ready to write a check.
That's the truth. For those of you that don't follow sports and don't really understand what just happened, you have a high school girlfriend. She's nice to you, and then all of a sudden you go to college. Then all of a sudden the chick has the big hips and the nice curves, and you're just like, God damn. Then the girl in the high school is like, hey, remember I've been with you all along. And you're like, deuces. And then you're over there in the dorm room with Shorty with the nice hips, and then that's what happens. They did nice hips is the Lakers, the other one's Cleveland, and then you got a tough decision to make. Most of the time you go with the nice hips. Then you graduate college, meet another girl that's actually a combination of both of these things, nice hips and the nice girl, and then you get married. Welcome to real life, right?
It's not how mine trajectory went, but sure, I could see that being
the ideal trajectory. I know I could name names of all the chicks that would fall into these categories. What I'm saying? And if you're on the guy side, I don't know. If you're a woman listening, I don't know. I'll bring you on the podcast. You explain to me how it works, and then say,
Shout out to Ebony Kenny.
Yeah, shout out to Ebony Kenny. She's what's up. She's in Vancouver or something right now. All right, so Matt Hunt, he's been taking up some streams, and he even changed his Twitter name.
He's doing God's work because he's doing precisely what I would hate to have to do.
Like what?
Not only is he starting from scratch through the streaming sphere, but he's transitioning also into another market. So he's going from poker to gaming, which, natural transition.
Bigger market.
Bigger market, much bigger market. Adding a mental health spin to it, and then starting from dead zero of I'm new to this, follow my journey, let's build a community together. Fantastic. I think he's going to kill it. But I also think that like having done something similar with Solve For Why, if I had to reproduce that now, it'd be really hard to motivate myself.
The gaming area or sphere has had like 2 major losses for mental health though. So it seems like if the time to start a mental health stream is going to happen, the time is now.
Yeah.
And I think that Hunt is taking that and running with it. And it's saying like, you know, like I am interested in gaming, I am interested in mental health, and I could put both those things together and do it. And I've seen a lot of his tweets recently where it's just like, you know, I feel like this is giving him an avenue to like get motivated, because a lot of his tweets, or not a lot of his tweets, but some of his tweets have been like, you know, it's been really hard for me this week or something like that. Do you feel as if like for you, like when you stream, it gives you like a little bit like of happiness or just like something to do or something to look forward to that day or anything like that?
What is happiness, really?
Well, I'm saying like at least for some people,
it's just a temporary change of state, right?
Oh man, there's a lot of things I could have said about that, but well, at least for him, it seems like this is helping him.
Yeah.
Like he's helping himself and helping others.
Yeah, there are definitely things I enjoy about the stream. I won't go so far as to say that like I was super pumped and looking forward to each and every one, but I also didn't dread them. They are what they are. Like it's a chance to be a showman, and I definitely enjoy that aspect of it. It's also a chance to put your skills on display, which I think everyone who plays poker wants to do more of, just because it's not really a game that lends itself to demonstrating who truly is good and who isn't. We don't really get to see volume, right? We don't really get to see the zoomed in. We only get to see the 10,000 foot approach where it's like, here's a handful of hands that you played well or a handful of hands you played poorly. So yeah, I think from all that, like it was a fun experiment. I'll do more streaming in the future. I want to do more sooner than later, but there are other things to attend to. For Hunt, I think that it's really timely in the sense that it's organizing, potentially a little bit of disorganization. The, I guess, quarantine or COVID or whatever you want to refer to it as, it impacted him, right? Like we pretty much froze. We scaled way back, so he hasn't really been doing a lot for us. To my knowledge, like he hasn't been doing a ton for Detox either. He's not really playing a ton. So suddenly, like his poker is just like vacation mode, you know? And when that happens, like, and that's a bit of a stable bedrock of your day-to-day livelihood, a lot of other things start to fall, you know? So I could see where like maybe he's bored, maybe he's a little disheveled, maybe he doesn't like have the motivation to do A, B, and C every single day through a routine. So I mean, it's been really fascinating. I haven't really got a chance to watch too much, but we've been talking. We're gonna do a co-stream of Red Dead Redemption, which is like one of my favorite RPGs that my nephew and I beat when he was a kid. Man, it must have been 7 or 8 years ago now. Probably the last time I played a video game too.
I think I want to stream Zelda.
That's what he's been doing.
Zelda's fire, bro. Zelda was one of the hardest games of all time. Like I used to like Google. I don't even know if it was Google at the time. It might have been like ask.com, and like be like, how do you beat this level? And then they would like give you instructions, and then you would have to follow.
You cheated. Yeah, sure.
I was actually like ahead of my time. Like I was in the information age before the information age.
There are definitely some Nintendo games I would like to go back and play. Like Mega Man 2 was so much fun. Never beat it. Got really, really close. Super Nintendo games like Super Mario World was great.
You had Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
God damn.
I mean, I got it once
it was.
Once 64 came out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was always
one game
an entire
behind.
generation behind.
Yeah, I remember Super Nintendo. I had to choose between Sega and Super Nintendo, and I chose Sega.
Bad choice.
Yeah, no.
Very bad choice.
But it was actually, I liked Sonic though. Sonic was fun.
One of my good friends in high school had Sega, and there used to be this thing called the Sega Channel. Genius, way ahead of its time. You could stream games.
Wow, really?
On your TV.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. I honestly, like looking back on it, was like 1996. I don't even know how they had the technology, but like you paid like $50 a month, and they had I don't know, maybe 25 or 40 games that were available for you to just like play. All you had to have was a Sega and cable TV, and obviously the internet. So yeah, it must have been a little bit later, like 98 maybe.
Oh, all right. Well, that shit's crazy though. You ever remember the channels where you used to like text and they would play whatever music video you wanted?
No.
Those were fire, bro. like late at night on like BET. I think it was called The Box.
Sure.
You would like text, they would charge you like 99 cents and they would play whatever.
I was trying to get like free HBO and Cinemax so I could see some boobies.
No, that's what you did. That's what I'm talking about. Like I used to just play like the most raunchy fucking music videos.
Yeah, but like you could actually see naked boobies on Cinemax.
Mystical. All right, so the story, the major story this week, Doug Polk versus Daniel Negreanu. That's been the whole hype. It's been like Doug Polk puts out a challenge. People here were like, "You guys didn't talk about Doug Polk. What the fuck?" You know, from last week, and I'm like, bro, it's not live anymore.
Right.
Relax. Like I have to record this. Yeah. We have to edit it. Yeah. We have to like comb it for like mistakes. And it takes a while, okay? And recording time, they fucking launched. They issued the challenge on a Thursday. We launch on a Friday, on a Wednesday. Relax. Oh man.
Hey, Conrad, is the vlog done yet? I'm like halfway done. So it's not coming out today.
I didn't like that. Okay, so then, challenge gets issued. Challenge accepted from Daniel Negreanu. The actual, like, what's going to happen, like, how many hands, what they're going to play, still not there. But we know a challenge is going to happen, and they're going to play. As of now, it's heads up, no limit hold'em, with potentially another game being added by Daniel Negreanu.
I don't think that's happening.
Okay, so then we're just playing heads up, no limit hold'em.
I think it's heads up, no limit, 2 tables. That's what they've agreed on thus far, and it's going to be 200, 400, between 10K and 25K hands.
That is not favorable for my man Daniel, I think.
No, totally agree.
Daniel, okay, so let's talk it there and then we'll add more stuff.
Okay.
Why does Daniel take on this challenge? Because he admits that he's not a favorite.
Right.
So it has to be more than that because it's not money.
Right.
Daniel has a lot of money already, allegedly. I don't do his taxes, but like he probably has a lot of money. He's not a favorite in here, admittedly by him. Mm-hmm. Why is he doing this?
I don't know. Honestly, that's the thing. Is like I don't know because to me it seems like he's been goaded into giving his mortal enemy money, and I struggle with that.
Is it like a free roll for him though? So say like this: like if he loses, he's expected to lose. But if he beats him, it's over for Doug Polk. Like he can never open his mouth again. Right?
Yeah, but it's not a free roll in the sense that if he loses, he just gave his mortal enemy money that he was expected to give him.
But what's like? I guess
if
like,
he gives Doug Polk $1 million, do you think he's gonna feel good?
No, I don't think so.
It's gonna be way worse than however good he would feel if he beat Doug out of 100K.
That's a good point.
Because if he wins, he's not gonna win by a landslide. He's not gonna win $1 million. You know, like we saw the Gelfond challenge of 2 relatively comparable competitors, and it was plus $1 million all the way back down to minus $1 million. Phil squeaks it out by
thousands,
a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
We see that sort of swing in this. It's not going to correct. It's the correction. If Daniel goes on $1 million downswing, the correction is going to be a couple $100,000, right? Because he's expected to have been losing throughout that path. And I think that like it can be worse if 2 comparable players are suffering enough variance where, you know, it's what would that be? 25 buy-in downswing. That's very likely to occur in a situation where one person has a pretty discernible edge. We might see something like a 50 or 75 buy-in downswing.
So I remember a long time ago, Ike Haxton mentions that 2 people that are even if one is better than the other heads up, the edge is not that much. Do you still think that's true? Like he said, like I remember this was like This was made a very long time ago. This had to be like close to 10 years ago.
Yeah, if it's pre-solved, then
Yeah.
that's why it was thought to be true. Because live is so slow and the variance is so impactful that there isn't a big edge. But online, over mass volume, with somebody playing an approximate GTO strategy and the other one hoping to catch up to that strategy, no, you just print your EV. You know, if he's supposed to make 75 cents a hand, he's going to. But it's going to be within plus or minus 10 cents, plus or minus 15 cents.
So Doug Polk hasn't played poker in 2 years.
It's why high stakes heads up died. Right? Because like after enough sample, it became very clear that you could just handicap a match plus or minus a few cents on the dollar of what the expectation of each person is. I mean, in all honesty, if like this were a fair wager, Doug should have to spot Daniel some lead, you know, some fair lead where like maybe Doug's risking $1.10 to every dollar that Daniel bets. But Daniel snap called too fast. I think he could have negotiated way better terms. Doug wanted this. Daniel doesn't give a shit. Daniel really had a lot working in his favor to negotiate terms.
Right, because he's a dog. I think everyone, including Daniel, agrees that he's a dog.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still working out the terms, so there things could change. But as of now,
you know, you can't really backtrack and say like, okay, I want you to pay 110% on losses, or I'll pay 90% on losses. Something like I want 10% back.
Yeah.
Right. I want a 10% refund. That's common. That happens a lot whenever you're handicapping these types of matches.
Yeah. I think you could. I think you should negotiate for Daniel.
Yeah, I would love to.
I think you should
retroactively, like 2 weeks ago.
I think you should be like, hey, you're no longer speaking with my client. you talk to me. We want 10% rake win back or
losses back. Yeah,
like 10% loss back, and we would like 5,000 of these hands to be played live.
I honestly think that like if it's within shouting distance, within like maybe the final 1,000 hands, they should play it in PokerGo.
Yeah, I think PokerGo would pay them to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
You should negotiate with PokerGo too.
Look, right, I'm putting on my hat, man. Like anybody who wants me to negotiate contracts right now, let's fucking talk.
Okay, so then Daniel goes on his podcast, that podcast,
little tipsy,
little bit lit up.
Yeah,
that's cool though. That's cool with me.
No, I like it.
People seen me
He's
with
fiery.
with the White Claws and all the shit. It's like, it's all good, man. He says,
question, I'm not a favorite. There is no possible argument you can make, okay, that I'm a favorite going into this match. This is literally the specialized format. He says I didn't play for 2 years. The last time I played Heads Up No Limit Hold'em was 10 years ago. If we wanted to make the equivalent, right, you know, for him playing Heads Up No Limit Hold'em and me, we play high stakes, super high roller bowls, and crossbow, and I'll destroy him. He would never agree to that because he'd get destroyed. I would lay a price against him, but he would never do that because those are not his terms. All I've played my whole life is tournaments, right? I play some cash on the side. He would never agree. He would never step to the plate. He throws out a challenge in literally his own, it's like his only game that he's actually good at. Everything else in terms of like tournaments and, you know, multi-table events and crossbooks, he would deny in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even bother throwing it out because he'd be like, bro, you're backing out, you're backpedaling, blah, blah, blah. I'm playing your fucking game. I'm just saying, if I offered you a crossbook in high rollers, step to me, bitch.
he went off on him.
Yeah.
Effectively, he said he could never play anything that's not outside of online Heads Up. A lot of people agree with Daniel. I'm not gonna say who. I'm just gonna say a lot of people agree with Daniel. It's. I don't know what to say. I don't.
All right. I think that there is some truth to what Daniel's saying. You know, Doug's been sitting on a perch criticizing the entire community for the past 7 or 8 years, basically telling it how it is as far as where he ranks the talent across the board. If we're talking about 6 max no limit hold'em, Doug's not elite.
Right.
He's just not. Right.
He's not OTB Red Baron.
Right.
Right.
If we're talking about super high roller tournaments, Doug's not elite.
He's not Christoph Vogelsang.
Right. That doesn't mean he's not profitable. And even if he's not profitable, that doesn't mean he's the biggest loser in the field either.
He's not Nick Palma.
Yo.
Whoa, what's up? Come at me. I don't give a fuck. This is the realest podcast. Let's go.
Fish on a heater. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I obviously I think that Daniel's tirade is fueled by a distaste for Doug, and you know, I share it. The guy does a great job of dragging people's names to the mud. To say he's a fish, I think, is extreme. He's winning in almost all fields that he sits in.
Is he?
Not maybe not in the
in
toughest.
The high rollers.
Yeah, probably not.
Right.
Probably not. Right.
That doesn't mean he's a fish.
He hasn't played a high roller in 3 years.
Right.
It's evolved a ton. I'm sure he's not studying this metric.
Right.
To say he couldn't ever win in them is false. Right. Like, I think I'm probably losing in high rollers also. I also think that with enough work and dedication to specifically that discipline, I could probably start to win.
Right.
It's just a matter of motivation. And again, this goes all the way back to like, why is Daniel accepting this? Because he doesn't have, I can't see where the stars align that he's motivated to learn heads up, no limit, hold'em cash against, you know, a guy who literally wrote the book.
At some point, I think it's like you want to punch the bully back.
Sure, I think
that. That's what it comes down to.
Right. Let's negotiate some favorable terms here. Right. Let's you know, at least when McGregor fought Floyd, he got paid.
He got paid a lot.
He got compensated for sacrificing his skill set to enter the domain of a master, right? And they both know how to punch, much like both of these guys know how to play no limit Texas Hold'em, right?
Right.
But we're talking about two very, very different arenas. You know, even compromising of doing this live versus online neutralizes the edge a lot, I think. So I think Daniel has a big uphill challenge. I do think that there are some...
Why do you think that is? I'm sorry to cut you off. Why do you think that is, like, the online versus live? Because
volume first and foremost.
Well, even if they played, okay, obviously it's not feasible.
It's not feasible.
It's not feasible. But
yeah, you would have to play for a year.
If Daniel says, like, I would destroy him live, he's a little bitch that has live tells, and if he can't wear a scarf and sunglasses, he's dead. He has 0% chance. That's some strong shit.
Yeah, but that's not true.
I don't know, man. Daniel, I've seen Daniel call out people's hands.
Yeah, sure. He's probably right in that he garners an edge through these areas that Polk's leaking, but Polk still has sound strategy. So it's like, it's not like suddenly...
But what if Daniel can see the cards? He's effectively saying, like, I don't care about your strategy.
But that's not true, right? It's like, you're never going to have that sort of pinpoint accuracy. It'll sway things a little bit more favorably for Daniel. In close spots, he'll perform a little bit more accurately. He'll have a little bit more confidence. Also, live is very emotional. It's very psychological, right? Like, you feel the momentum shifts, and you have to stare one another in the fucking face and deal with the fact that this guy just got out on you 3 hands in a row. And, you know, there's so much more psychology at play and on display, nonetheless, right? Online, it's robotic, it's mechanic, it's stick to your guns, implement the strategy, and that obviously favors Polk. You know, this guy literally played a machine for a month.
Yeah.
That's a big edge to have in this sort of mano-a-mano battle.
Let me ask you a question, Berk.
Hit me.
Who do you like respect? Like, if you say, like, okay, I really would like this guy to respect my game, like, who would it be? Like, like up here, like someone that you'd be like, oh, like, it's kind of nice that this person respects my game.
Galfond. Everybody, the Godfather.
So if Galfond said, I think you're not the best high stakes deep stack player in the world, would you go to the bar and cry and say, like, you know, similar to how, like, Doug Polk cried when Ben Tollerine said, you're just not the best heads up player in the world? Would you go to the bar and cry if Galfond told you, like...
Is there anybody to corroborate this story? Like, did this in fact happen?
I think this actually happened. Like, Ben Tollerine told Doug Polk.
Okay, that part I'm not trying to poke holes in.
Okay.
What's the response to legitimately go to a bar and cry?
I don't know about the bar
part.
That
sounds pretty comical.
I that happened, man. Like, that
Did
happened.
it, though?
I don't know. All I know is that, like, you know, the bartender said there was a tear. And my man Daniel Negreanu is corroborating the story. I don't know, man. Doug Polk said a lot of shit about you and people think it's true. So I'm just gonna go by what I hear. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'm not one for throwing poo for the sake of throwing poo. This sounds out of context. I highly doubt.
A couple drinks down, man, you start crying. Like I you know,
fine.
I've been there, man. I know the feeling. Like shorty tells you like, you know, something, and then like you're at the bar, all of a sudden you're not as good as you think you are in whatever, and then and then all of a sudden you start crying.
Strokes a little off.
You know, like strokes a little off. Maybe the bet's a little off. Like what's going on, man? I feel you, Doug Polk.
I mean, I think like, you know, dating back 6-7 years ago, whenever high stakes heads up was a big dick swinging contest, and I'm sure a lot of people validated their worth on where they ranked. This was probably very important to him. I doubt it matters now. I honestly can't imagine that Doug loses sleep over where he ranks in the high stakes heads up no limit community.
But it depends what Ben 86 thinks about him. That's what he really thinks.
I don't think that's true. I really don't.
So okay, so then now what? Do you think all eyes are going to be on this match?
It's big for the poker community. I mean, it gives us something to talk about. It gives us something to basically bet on, right? Like the lines are already out. I think Daniel's just shy of a 3-1 dog.
Timex is on everything, man.
Oh, for sure.
This guy is just
for
on
sure.
everything.
I'll be interested to see how the lines move because I expect even at 3-1.
I think Daniel. I would bet on Daniel, right?
I think the line's going to move more favorably for Daniel.
Like it's going to go 4-1.
If all the money comes in on Polk, they can't just leave the line as is.
Yeah.
They have to get some money on Negreanu, right? So yeah, like I could easily see it moving even further in Daniel's favor.
At 4-1, I think you just have to bet Daniel. Like he's like, I mean, at the end of the day, the guy's a pro. Like he can't be a 4-1 dog.
How much was Galfon laying to
2-1?
No, to coaches who were challenging.
It was 2-1.
No, Chance is getting a sick price. He's getting like 5-1.
I'm curious about that. I mean, that's crazy.
Chance is getting a huge price.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because I remember I considered like, is there a snowball's chance in hell that I could train myself to a point where I could compete with Galfon to the point where I win like 1 in 5 times?
Okay, so it says,
and I arrived at no.
I mean, it's also just high risk. Like when you lose, like you lose a lot of money, like actual money.
Kind of.
I mean, he could have like Vinny Vidi could have lost $1 million or something crazy, like you know.
No. Oh, you mean the actual heads
actual
up part.
match? Yeah. Like when you lose a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, trust me. Like it's a high risk endeavor, but yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. It's I don't know that he has a fighter's chance here.
That's so crazy though.
I think he has. I think he. Look, I don't want to cut Daniel short. I think that he has a better than average chance of keeping this match close. I think we could easily see this, ending somewhere between -5 and -15 buy-ins, and I think that's respectable, right? Like that's if they play 25,000 hands and you lose 10 buy-ins, it's not really that big of a deal. Right?
Do you think he can win?
That's the thing. I don't know that he has a fighter's chance. I really don't, because I've played a lot of heads up throughout quarantine. I don't think I'm very good at heads up. I'm like Daniel. Like my skill set is ring. I think he mentioned a couple things in the podcast that really rung true to me, where it's like there's a reason why game theory strategies develop off of heads up play. It's the most solvable.
It's the easiest.
It's impossible to even solve that truly to completion, but it's the most practical, right? Like we start with wide ranges. It's 1 versus 1. There are no other parameters to really input, and we work our way backwards.
Yeah.
So we can come up with a practical, approximated GTO strategy. That goes out the window whenever you start playing multi-way. And I understand that there's Munker out there and yada, 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 but understand that with every single new person you add to the table, those parameters now come with some volatility because of the inaccuracies. And that all compounds, and we just land on something that we call a GTO approximation, but let's be quite frank. The margin of error is so fucking vast that, what humans are doing intuitively is probably pretty comparable in win rate.
Do you think this would be bigger than the Galfon challenge?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that they have the right media churn behind them. I still think that I love Galfon to death. I think they dropped the ball in promoting that.
He's crying. He's going to cry.
He's not going to cry.
Yeah,
I promise you.
Trust me. I know Galfon. He's a very sensitive human being, and like you are telling him that he dropped the ball, he's going to be crying with his baby at the bar with Farah.
Well, if that's the case, then I rescind my comment, because I would never want to do that to any of the Galfons. However, my whole point is I think that there are, we don't suffer from media dilution like all other, for better or for worse, all other arenas are so diluted in their media sources that it's difficult to pin down one place to centrally locate something like that. We don't have a lot of options here. You know, you go through PokerGo, you go through Poker News, whatever. Like it's pretty centrally focused, and you can build your own platform and you can drive traffic that way. And I know that that's what Phil was intending on doing. It just doesn't work nearly as well. It's great that they got 20,000 Twitch viewers for the final couple streams. That's fucking awesome. But it wasn't the Phil Antonio heads up match, right? And I think the Negreanu Polk thing will look a lot closer to that.
I think Negreanu is fighting for his place as the first family of poker because the Galfons are coming. And like they're trying to take over being the first family of poker. So if Daniel wins this, he will retain the first family of poker, and we'll see what happens. But you did mention the Antonio and Helmuth match that happened this week on PokerGo. It's a new show called The Duel. You know a lot about it because you kind of you seem to know a lot of things behind the scenes.
I got sources, man.
You're like behind the scenes, you know.
I'm tapped in everywhere.
You're tapped in. You're corporate. You know, I'm for the people. Okay, I'm out there, and the people are asking me questions, and I'm like, okay, I'll research. I have people. I'm gonna text Berkey. Okay. Okay. So, all right. Tell us about the duel, and then we'll talk about actually the show. But like, tell us like the structure.
So the way that I understand it is, it's similar to Mortal Kombat. If you've ever played that video game, where when you win,
is that the get over here one?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you win a match, you then rise through the ranks, right? So you move on to the next boss, if you will, and each one gets progressively tougher. So the way I understand this, it's the same thing. Each round gets progressively more expensive. So Phil and Antonio effectively bought in at the base at the beginner round, and that was a $50K buy-in each.
Beginner round.
Well, that's where we're at. Beginner is the wrong word, but entry level.
Entry level. This is like multi-level marketing.
Yeah,
like.
yeah, exactly. So now round 2, Antonio has the option to challenge Phil again, or if he declines, a new challenger can step in. So it's also kind of maybe a better analogy would be like similar to boxing, right? Going through the ranks of boxing. Man, that just reminded me. There was a fucking great game on Sega. I think it was Evander Holyfield Boxing.
I never played it.
What a game, man. It was built just like this. Like you just went through this tier, and then eventually you became like the welterweight.
I think we need a game night with just like all video games.
Yeah, I'm in. That actually sounds pretty dope.
Yeah.
We should definitely do this.
We'll stream it.
I like this. I like this idea. We're gonna get Hunt involved.
Okay.
We're gonna play too many sports games though. He's gonna get pissed.
He's gonna be so mad. NBA 2K. No, it can't be 2K. 2K is too modern. It has to be like NBA Jam.
Yeah.
NBA Jam was fire.
Yeah.
NBA Jam and the Larry Johnson in the corner.
I got some throwback games that I think he would enjoy. There's this game called Joe and Mac on Super Nintendo. You're two cavemen fighting dinosaurs. It's awesome.
Okay. No. We're not doing that.
You throw a boomerang and rocks and shit. It's great.
Okay, so then
so each tier you progress to the new boss, right? And each level doubles. So the next level is 100K. So he'll either be playing Antonio again or a new challenger for 100K. And Phil doesn't have the option to quit. So the winner has to win 4 matches in a row before he can opt out. And to my knowledge, he can continue through the gauntlet should he choose to after the 4th match, but he'll be risking significant money at that point. So it would be 50, 100, 200, 400 would be the final match that he wins. So now he could play an 800K match and risk it all.
Oh my Lord.
Or, just take his 400K and walk. And it's set up
So
where,
much
like,
risk.
if you run the full gauntlet, I think it's 12 matches. The final match is like 6.2 million or something like that.
But how does the other person?
They buy right in.
Who's it gonna be? Bill Klein?
That's what I said. That's what I said. And the response was just Ivy.
Ivy? Just it's always
And
Ivy.
and Boss.
Ivy. It's always Ivy. The end is always Ivy.
Yeah.
Ivy is like Bowser. Like
He's the end boss for sure. Like no matter what happens, no matter how many rounds it ends up being, like wherever the ceiling is, you're just gonna have to get through Ivy.
Honestly, like Ivy would be like that would be a must watch heads up match.
Yeah. this all fails, we're going to do something similar, video game style, with like, 1/100th of the stakes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be $500 to get in. The end boss is going to be like, $10K.
Yeah. Jason Mercier.
Yeah.
The end boss is Jason Mercier. This is very reasonable. You know, like it's like 10K hit. Oh my God. I can't even imagine even if it's not $6 million, like $1 million heads up match is insanity.
Insane.
Like who's going to play this?
Right.
Like who's that rich? On either side, like if you're a pro, you're definitely not that rich to do that. Like there's no pro that can play.
Well, the crazy thing is too, you almost don't want it to be a businessman buying in at that level because you don't want the matches to get progressively easier. Like you don't want to fit.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
As a selfish, if you're the pro, you would love it.
For sure. It's like, oh, I get Guy Liberté at the 2.5 million mark. Like, sure, I'll battle Ivy at the million.
Yeah. Like if I just get lucky against Ivy, I could just cruise.
That would be kind of a cool thing, right? So say you graduate the 400K one, and then like let's say Ivy's the 800K match, but you also know that like Guy Liberté is the 1.6 million match. Do you just risk it? You're only in for 50K.
You just gotta be smart. You just gotta sell a lot for the Ivy match. And then once you beat that
No, because if anyone's going to buy, they're buying equity for the Guy Liberté match.
Obviously, but maybe you got some dumb buyers out there. Maybe you just be like, listen, I'll sell you a markdown for the Ivy one.
Yeah.
Like, I'll sell you a markdown for the Ivy one, but that's it. Like, that's at markdown, you might get some action.
Maybe.
I'll sell a little markdown, hope to get through, and then just keep all your equity for the Gi match. I got you, homie. Yo, we're negotiators out here. Like, this is what's up.
But yeah, so then like if Antonio does challenge him and then he wins, now I think Phil has the option to challenge him for a third match, but they have to play for 200K.
Wow.
But again, it resets. So now Antonio would only be at win 1. So now if he goes through the ladder, he doesn't exit until the 800K stage. So he has to up the stakes.
Do you think that so we're early on in this concept. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's like an education process? Like this seems like a lot to like for like an casual
Honestly,
fan?
The best thing that they could do for a promotion would be turn this into a fake video game. So you don't actually have to build the video game, but you build out a video, like something for me, the user, to watch.
Yeah.
That is being played to me as if it's a video game format.
Right. And they show kind of like,
yeah, you just show like some animation of Helmuth versus Antonio, like,
and then like he beats him and then goes on to this one.
It has like the Mike Tyson's Punch Out, like, and they're just like jawing at each other. It's like, and then there's like subtitles, like, I'll beat this kid at any time or whatever. And then and then it just progresses through the ranks, each and every one. I honestly think, PokerGo, if you're listening, look, I'm your guy.
Yeah, we're not.
I got the visual marketing tactics. I got a team that can pull this off. Hit me up.
100,000.
Hit me up.
100,000 is cheap.
Cheap.
It's so cheap. Like
so
these guys are playing for $6 million.
Here's the thing. On the low, we're just gonna build it ourselves.
Yeah, they better hope we don't.
We're just gonna build it ourselves. Whenever this thing all cools down and whatnot, it's like, okay, we're gonna have the $500 version.
So day one, the PokerGo goes down.
Yeah.
Like Nick Schulman does an interview with Antonio and Helmuth. Seems like it went okay. Then after that, they're gonna play the match. It just goes down, right? It's like I try to tune in, and there was nothing, and I was like, "What's going on? Is the match today?" And then I would go on Twitter, and it's like, "Yeah, the match is today." I'm like, "What's going on?" Then eventually, it's like, "Oh, the servers went down. There's too many people." I mean, there wasn't even too many people for the main event.
Right. Well, the main event wasn't free.
Right. So
this was free.
So now they made it free. It crashed the servers because there was too many people.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like that means like these two
names.
That's
good. That means that there's a pulse.
These two names are still massive.
Oh, for sure.
Like they're just so massive.
We've talked about this a lot. The old guard is so impossible to replace, right? Like they've just had millions and millions of dollars promoting them for the last 15 to 20 years. Mm-hmm. There is just nobody in our industry who has that type of churn, right? Like the best of the best, even Durr and Ivy don't have that sort of churn. They have that sort of appeal, But they don't have that much market value because there's never been that kind of money behind them.
There was a lot of money behind Durr at some point.
Yeah, they had one full.
But it was a
such
short
a tiny
window.
Yeah,
right. He was like the biggest name.
He had the same churn that like Elke had with Stars or Jason.
I don't know, man. That Durr, like I remember when Durr and Stars, they were like, when Full Tilt and Stars were just like at a bidding war to sign him.
Yeah,
and it was insane. And then I'm sure he got like a pile of money.
Yeah. But like when it's all said and done, the memorable thing is the commercial he did in the mirror.
Yeah.
And then the Durr challenge that never came to be. Right. So now it's an infamous Durr challenge, not the famous Durr challenge. You think about like Elke and Jay, like they had a few commercials with Stars. Mm-hmm. They were pretty dope. They were really relevant for this pocket of time post Black Friday, well beyond Durr now. But it fizzled, right? Stars just axed everybody. Right. Everybody that wasn't a streamer. And they kept this tiny little core group. The only people who could potentially replace the old guard is Spraggy, Fenton, and Lex. Because they're in the position of having that corporation backing them. But they're not big enough. You know, they're very niche to what they're great at. And though I think that they garner more eyes than almost everybody else in the industry that isn't the old guard, it doesn't rival high stakes poker.
So what would you say to someone like you or G-Man, like these guys that are like big names, fan favorites, that want, like people like seeing them, like don't you guys have a chance?
No shot. Literally no shot. Get yours where you can. Build your brand, carve your own niche, have an exit plan, but like never, you won't see anybody else now reach Jason Mercier status, let alone beyond, right? Like you just won't.
So who would you say is like Jason Mercier status is like
Mercier and Polk, I think like hit the ceiling of what our generation can build up to.
Like a Jake Carver, you're saying like
Jake Carver's another good example. Yeah. I don't think we can get beyond those bounds because we just don't have enough push behind us, right? There just is nothing extending us out to the general populace. There's no WSOP brand. There's no WPT brand. There's no Stars or Party Poker or whatever. And even with their best efforts now, if Party was like, okay, we're going to go to the old model. We're going to build the next Daniel Negreanu. We're going to build the next Antonio. It doesn't work because it was a perfect storm of online poker and television collaborating, right?
It can happen. If let's say poker is legalized everywhere, goes back on TV, it's a perfect storm again.
I don't think so. All of that televised poker was generated by the online sites through their marketing budget.
Yeah.
But there was such a massive influx of liquidity. They were making money so fast and so furious with so many new customers to acquire that it was a simple loss leader for them and they had no problems doing it. It won't be that easy even if we went nationwide free reign to play, right? Like the market's a lot smarter. It's a lot smaller. The amount of new acquisitions will just be fewer than we saw 20 years ago, and the retention will be shorter, right? So like for every dollar that you spend marketing, the return will, maybe it was like a factor of 10 back then with retention rates and spend and liquidity and all that other stuff. Now it might be like a factor of 2, a factor of 3, something like that. So I just don't think, and it'll be much more competitive. It won't just be Full Tilt and Stars.
Right. Now
it'll be 6 or 7 different clients that are all pretty level across the board.
I think New Era is gonna come in and like give you a deal for some hats. They're gonna give you a deal to be like, listen, man, wear my hat every day at the podcast. Good. Well, how much?
It would take something like MLB or NFL saying like, we're gonna sportify poker. And we're going to build an offshoot league.
Yeah, they'll build a dome in Vegas like they did in Orlando.
Sure.
Right? Just have all the poker players in there.
It'll never happen, though, because all of sports are born off of TV rights.
Yeah.
They're making billions off of television rights.
They don't even care about the fans.
Right.
This is why, like, at least like the live fans, right?
Yeah,
It's just like all everyone's like, oh, there's no fans. It's like, bro, they don't care about the fans.
Yeah,
like,
they make nothing.
It's like the fans is like they're just there. Like
they fucking donate the money that they make.
It's like the fans is like that's extra. Like that's icing on the cake. Everything they care about is the TV.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, TV revenue is like billions.
Yeah,
and poker just doesn't offer that.
Yeah, maybe we need to start something. I don't know. People are asking an update for our to be determined.
It's to be determined.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of inquiries.
Yeah,
they're like, "When's to be determined?" I've heard of this shit for 20 years. I'm like, it's coming, man.
The rough cut's done. The rough cut is done. We're close. Before quarantine's over, it'll be out.
That's such an open-ended. Listen, when to be determined comes out, I want you all to break the fucking servers.
Yeah.
Of Poker Go. Actually, try to break our servers.
Yeah, break our servers first.
Break the Solve For Why TV servers. We'll pay for it, man. It's fine. It's fine. And then you guys will start a Patreon so that you could fund us to rebuild the server.
Right.
Because we want, we're gonna give it to you for free, but then all of a sudden you guys, I don't know. I don't want to make Berkey taught me something about this podcast. I don't want to make promises I can't keep. So I don't know if it's gonna be free on our site.
No, it is.
Oh, God damn it! I was trying to save us.
No,
okay.
We're launching our free site in 2 weeks. So we're going to come out with the whiteboard videos. To be determined will be shortly thereafter. So all of that will live on the free site. All it'll cost you is an email address.
And the real email address, all right? Don't send me no fake email address from Yahoo. I'll fucking ban your account. All right? The real one, the Gmail.
Right.
The work one.
Yeah.
The one your wife don't see. Or maybe the one the wife does see. I don't know. All right. I hope you all enjoyed. This is episode 11. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Berkey's trying to get a new era sponsorship. We're trying to be sponsored by Google. We're trying to break down the servers. And we'll see you all next week.
Go ahead and play it, man. I know it, I know.